Welcome to the jungle. Hello, everybody. I am Mayor Watt, and you are watching Non Sequitur News for November 10th, 2024. It's Season 3, Episode 315, and along with the sentient AI from the future, we are going to talk about a 4-year world cruise ship voyage. The eastern U.S. is sinking, microplastics impacting weather. These bills are odd. Netflix and no chill. Super strain of bacteria. I've no idea what happened to our audio. NFL ref calls penalty. The RP Gamer Roundup. Encore, the AI search engine, and hackers stealing Ticketmaster tickets. Everything is powered by ohmtown.com, so go over there and become a citizen where you can get all of the news, none of the noise, and definitely respite from the last several, year. See you on the other side of our intro. Hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt, and hello, hometown citizens.
Oh, you're doing that ducking again. Oh, it's okay. No. Don't worry about it. We are not going to mess with it today. We're just going to deal with it. We are going to do it live, as it were. Doing all right?
I am doing fine, and that should have fixed it at least temporarily.
That did fix it. Wow. It's almost like you're a sentient AI from the future. You knew what was wrong. Okay, let's just go. So this first article that we're going to talk about is for whatever reason, we have this strange fascination with all things lifelong cruise affiliated kind of stuff. I'm really not sure why. I've never been on a cruise, and I don't necessarily want to get on a cruise because I think that they're the petri dishes of the sea. But a residential cruise ship has a 4-year round-the-world voyage to quote-unquote escape politics. But 4 years is the cycle for politics. So you're literally going to be enveloped in politics.
I mean, the idea is funny. It seems like it's just a shtick.
Oh, it's definitely. Yeah. The residential cruise line offers a 4-year voyage for passengers seeking an extra long vacation. A single-person room on the cruise ship for 4 years costs $256,000.
Is that all?
Promising,
I guess that's probably cheaper than buying a house, but at the end of it, you're not going to have a cruise ship or a house.
Yeah, you've got jack shit to show for it. That's really early in the stream. I'm probably going to get in trouble. The name of the new show that we are kicking off. We're changing the name yet again. Just kidding. They're going to go to 140 countries. The Odyssey. Wait, is that the same one? Yeah. The Via Vi.
Oh, it is.
Odyssey.
I didn't realize it was.
Yeah, entered the second month of its 15-year tour around the world. The Odyssey set sail in September after delays left it docked in Belfast for months. We didn't even get the news that it actually left,
We got the news that it started to leave and then it got stopped again, but I don't think we ever saw that it set sail again.
Yeah, that damn Windows 11 patch.
And that's a 15-month journey, right? Not 15-year.
It says 15-year tour around the world.
Oh, okay. It must have several legs inside that.
So the Odyssey started with its own kind of micro Odyssey, I suppose. Let's see here. If the state of the world, or at least election results, have got you considering whether you want to leave the United States, Villa Vi Residences wants to throw it in its hat in the ring for an option for temporary relocation. A double occupancy room starts at $319,998 for the 4-year trip, promising visits to 140 countries across all 7. So you can book a 2-year midterm selection. This is pure marketing tripe.
It is, but it's kind of funny.
Yeah. So you know what's going to be interesting about this? I am going to promote this episode And because I'm simply mentioning
Exactly. Even though we're
this,
not talking about anything
yep,
political.
I don't even care about the election in terms of the show. I'm not even talking about it. They're gonna ding me. I have been getting notices from previous promotion attempts where they've straight up said that I have to file a document for electioneering, even though I did not say anything about it. I never talk about politics. So anyway, I found it really interesting that I'm still getting them a year after the last promotion. So anyway, while a trip on the Odyssey doesn't offer citizenship anywhere except or anywhere else in the world, it gives passengers flexibility to escape traffic jams, politics, and the monotony of city life, except that you're going to have the monotony of being stuck on a ship until you get to another dock. And even
Yeah, but
then,
with that many country stops, you're probably not going too long in between docking.
well, except for the people who had to pay for their own apartment in
Well,
Italy.
that's a different issue. Assuming it
Um,
stays on schedule.
it was Ireland, not Italy. Yeah. So they said that they were going to actually. So it's really funny. Two passengers who repeatedly complained about the delays were kicked off the ship and had their contracts canceled. You bitch too much.
Never mind that you sold your house or gave away your pets or whatever you did in preparation for this.
Yeah. And if you put all of your eggs in one basket, guess what? Somebody else is going to take your eggs, make an omelet out of you. All right. Well, anyway, Catherine Tangalakis Lippert over at BusinessInsider.com put the article together. Pretty fascinating. 15-year tour around the world is what it says, but you have to pay $256,000 for a 4-year tour. So just over what, $65,000.
I mean, think what the cost would be for 15 years of this.
Yeah. Well, $1 million. Well, roughly.
Roughly, yeah.
All right, let's keep on going though. This is kind of interesting, but I'm just waiting for the software to like go, sorry, we need a patch, and you're stuck out there somewhere.
Yeah, that would not be good. I forgot why they were stuck in Belfast. They didn't have a permit or something.
Well, one was a permit and one was software that locked the engine controls so that they couldn't actually leave. Yeah. At least it's not the other one where they haven't even purchased the ship, right? There's another one where they didn't even purchase.
Yeah, that's a bigger problem.
People sold their everything and they hadn't even sold the ship or purchased the ship yet. Okay, let's keep on going. Oh, and if you're in the chat and you're interested in this kind of stuff, if you hit !NSN, that'll pull up the show notes for today's episode. Past episodes are over on YouTube because Twitch deletes everything after 60 days. And we have 1,500 episodes worth of shows across the ohmTown network of shows. And they're all podcasts as well. So do a search for wherever you catch pod and ohmTown will be there. So I've always wondered, why is the eastern U.S. sinking? I didn't actually know that it was, by the way.
But I didn't either until I saw this headline.
Yeah, this one, if you want to be scared out of your mind, I suppose, the answer lies in an ice sheet from 19,000 years ago. I find this one really interesting because they found in, what country was it? Carved wood that was designed to be stacked together like Lincoln logs underneath a waterfall somewhere. I think it was in South America. Underneath a waterfall that shows signs of
Wasn't it in Zambia in Africa?
Oh, was it? I thought it was South America. Maybe it was Africa. It must have been.
I think it was Zambia.
Yeah, so it shows that somebody used stone tools to carve wood and stack them together for some purpose. They don't know what the purpose was, but they carbon dated the wood. Oh, it is? Where is it?
It's Zambia.
Zambia. Okay. So they found this wood, preserved, but it looked like it had been set on fire. But at any
Right,
rate,
but they couldn't find any real evidence of fire,
right, which is interesting.
or
I'm not
not significant enough to think that it was intentionally
like burned, like
burned
this is like a
for
post
shaping or whatever.
occupation
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, yeah. And so it shows carve marks and manipulation by something human, or at least tool wielding. I mean, either these were brilliant monkeys, or it was humans, or my favorite, because it's NaNoWriMo month, aliens. Anyway,
Oh, I thought you were going to reference the escaped monkeys.
oh, the macaques. They're macaques, right? Aren't they macaques? I think they're
I
macaques.
I think so.
Yeah. But I'm like all over the park today. I am drinking yerba mate, and boy, are my caffeine levels at their yerba maximum.
Oh boy.
Anywho, yeah, so there are in it's South Carolina, right?
It is.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm saying this correctly, but Yamasee is
Yeah.
the town.
They're running all over, and they've only caught one, and I don't know what that one was up to. They're like, hey, I'm gonna go and get that banana over there, and they got scooped up. But there's 42 of them running around going
And now they're
bananas.
warning people not to fly drones in the area, which I'm sure tons of people are doing.
What the heck? They should be flying drones with thermal cameras so that you can see where these little monkeys are. What
Exactly.
the
I mean,
hell?
people might be doing that for their own. And you're right, there are macaques. It took me about 3 or 4 articles to find the species, but
It should be easy to
um,
spot. They're wearing little white lab jackets, right? Because they were lab macaques. Or,
no, I don't think so.
oh, really?
But that would be cute.
Oh, they're the research subjects. Oh, snap. I had that read completely wrong. I'm sorry, folks. Stay inside. You never know. Gain of function. Anyway.
This is definitely non sequitur news since we're supposed to be talking about the U.S. sinking.
The reason why I brought it all up is because this carved wood is 460,000 years old.
Right, but that isn't even the story, and nor are the macaques. We went layers and layers.
But it's because they're going to live while humanity gets taken over by monkeys, because apes, right? They're going to take over. Macaques are just going to be the intermediate step. They're off learning English and engineering and fission. And
maybe they're piloting the drones. People think it's the humans, but maybe the macaques have found the controller for one.
yeah, it's false intel, right? It's the macaques that are sending out a text to everybody, don't fly drones, because they're out there flying the drones around. All right. Well, anyway, this article is over at scitechdaily.com. It was written by Virginia Tech. Imagine that a massive ice sheet, you're a massive ice sheet, covered Canada and oozed down over a large part of the northern United States like ice spilling down the side of a cake. That was the situation somewhere between 19,000 and 26,000 years ago. The ice sheet covered land all the way down to south of modern day Pennsylvania, Ohio, Indiana, Michigan, and Wisconsin. But then the cheese in Wisconsin stopped it. That's what happens. Cheese is an insulator.
Cheese likes to do that.
It made the moon. So it's fascinating to picture, but the critical aspect to us today is what happened to the land when the ice sheet melted. And holy ice sheet, how does that affect modern day sea level rise and sinking land? PhD candidate Karen Williams embarked on a computer modeling research effort to find out just what happened. Apparently, Williams used computational modeling to assess the impact of the melting of the Laurentide ice sheet on present-day vertical land motions. I guess it's pushing us down. The scientific term for how solid Earth responds to this melting is glacial isostatic adjustment. I go through the
I'm
same
not sure
thing.
what to make of that.
I am glacial, isostatic. I stay in one place, and it's sincerely an adjustment when I have to get up. And by various assumptions, they simulated how the results depend upon the internal structure of the Earth through nearly 130,000 computational simulations. So it's basically a educated guess, but we really don't know what the hell happened. So the results of the study will help generate maps for researchers who guide decisions on aquifer management, Williams said. In the end, the research will be incorporated into a comprehensive report for the U.S. Geological Survey that will help Chesapeake Bay area stakeholders better understand the financial, ecological, and social effects of sea level rise. I wonder who's going to be the real benefactors of these. Anyway, Williams explained, by getting more accurate model estimates of what is contributing to the land either rising or sinking, we can identify areas undergoing localized vertical displacements driven by natural and or anthropogenic human sources such as excessive groundwater withdrawal in the Gulf of Mexico or the Chesapeake Bay. For example, Stamps said, some of the greatest differences between modeled influence of glacial isostatic adjustment and observations occur where there is known groundwater extraction, like Houston, Texas, and probably all of California. But they don't say that last part.
I think anywhere that's near water, right?
Oh, but there are people that are going to say, oh, that's bullshit. We can suck all of the water out of the sponge and it'll stay just fine. And we can punch holes all over the ground. It's fine. They don't ever collapse. All right. Let's keep moving, though. We are on a timeline, right? Not really.
I don't think that has been in play since the show started.
Yeah, 3 years ago. So this next article is over on Reality Hacker. Microplastics could be making the weather worse. It's definitely not making it better. Microplastics cause clouds to form in places where they otherwise wouldn't, which is likely to have knock-on effects on the weather and climate. This is a new one to me, although we have read reports and seen the news about how microplastics are being found in raindrops.
That's true, but we haven't seen this connection yet.
Miriam Friedman and Heidi, maybe Bussy or Bus, over at Wired.com put the article together. The deck statement is what I said. Let's see. So in a newly published study, this is actually from The Conversation under a Creative Commons license, which is really interesting. That's the first time that I've ever seen that attribution. But
right, same here.
Pretty cool of them. So at any rate, clouds form when water vapor and invisible gas in the atmosphere sticks to tiny floating particles such as dust and turn into liquid water droplets or ice crystals, and then they get heavier and heavier and heavier, and they drop out of that solution, which is wind. Atmosphere is it's a not very viscous fluid, and so if the mass builds up enough, it'll drop out of that solution and form rain. So it produces ice crystals at temperatures 5 to 10 degrees Celsius or 9 to 18 degrees Fahrenheit, warmer than droplets without microplastics. So ice actually forms around microplastics faster than just dust alone.
Yeah, that's interesting. That could start having a significant impact on the overall weather patterns.
Interesting. This suggests that microplastics in the air may affect weather and climate by producing clouds in conditions where they would not normally form. Ew. Look at that. Plankton mucus houses could pull microplastics from the sea.
Okay, that's good, but they need to work on their marketing.
But it's not really good because other life eats eats the plankton, and then it ends up in the...
True. It would only be good if the plankton collected it and then people collected the plankton somehow.
Yeah, stored it somewhere and said, y'all don't want this. Yeah, don't eat me. So we are atmospheric chemists who study, and that's the authors of this article, who study how different types of particles form ice when they come into contact with liquid water. This process occurs constantly in the atmosphere and is called nucleation. Nucleation is also if you have something like ice in a liquid that has carbonation, or the nanostructures on the surface of glass in a glass. Nucleation is where the carbonation forms and then bubbles out. It's called nucleation zones or areas or spots or whatever you want to call it, but it's called nucleation. In this case, nucleation is creating the nucleus of the water drop, forming around it and then pulling it out of the atmosphere. So clouds in the atmosphere can be made up of liquid water droplets, ice particles, or a mixture of the two. In clouds in the mid to upper atmosphere, where temperatures are between 32 and 36 degrees Fahrenheit, or 0 to negative 38, I think it says here. So between 32 and negative 36 degrees Fahrenheit. 0 to negative 38 degrees Celsius, ice crystals normally form around mineral dust particles from dry soils or biological particles such as pollen or bacteria that's been pulled up into the atmosphere. Microplastics are less than 5 millimeters wide, about the size of a pencil eraser, which that is huge.
Yeah, I would have thought they were a lot smaller, but maybe I'm thinking of nanoplastics.
Yeah. And that's what I think of when I hear about microplastics. Nanoplastics are even smaller, and that's the stuff that they're finding inside humans, because you're not going to find an eraser-sized lump of plastic in a human.
No, and I wonder if that's just the upper limit of it.
It has to be.
Because they probably have to classify them, and maybe a lot of the ones out there, because if they were that, I think people could actually spot them.
Easily, yeah. So why it matters? Well, for freezing to occur at warmer temperatures, some kind of material that won't dissolve in water needs to be present in the droplet. This particle provides a surface where the first ice crystal can form. If microplastics are present, they could cause the ice crystal to form, potentially increasing rain or snowfall. So clouds also affect weather and climate in several ways. They reflect incoming sunlight away from Earth before it hits the surface, which is a cooling effect, and absorb some of the radiation that's emitted from Earth's surface, which has a warming effect because it doesn't radiate away into space. It does eventually, but it holds on clouds. Water in general is a heat sink. So the amount of sunlight reflected depends on how much water versus ice a cloud contains. So if microplastics increase the presence of ice particles in clouds compared with liquid water droplets, this shifting ratio could change clouds' effects on Earth's energy balance. And now there are knuckleheads out there that are trying to, let's throw let's throw diamonds into our atmosphere.
Exactly. What could go wrong?
The problem isn't, we're getting too much heat from the sun. It's we are storing too much carbon in our atmosphere. That's anthropogenic.
And we poked holes in the ozone layer because of all of this.
Yep. And so we are disrupting the natural order of things. We are disrupting climate. But let's do it a mechanical way instead of figuring out how we don't throw more carbon into the freaking air. So they describe how they did their work, and they still don't know some things. So they say, to understand how microplastics affect weather and climate, we need to know their concentrations at the altitudes where clouds form. We also need to understand the concentration of microplastics compared to other particles that could nucleate ice, such as mineral dust, biological particles, etc. So they're going to have to take some guesses, and educated guesses are better than just throwing a dart against the wall and picking a number. I suspect that that's what they do anyway.
I don't think that's how they do it, but they barely started studying microplastics. The fact that they've even got this figured out is kind of surprising to me.
Yeah. But we've been calling it publicly on the show since, 3 years ago. And Mayor Watt's been talking about it for the last 12 years, longer than that, probably. I can't remember how far back I've been talking about it. I had a friend when I was much younger that really leaned into peak oil and went into basically like lead energy surveys and stuff like that, and trying to make everybody eco-friendly. And I don't have that kind of passion about any one particular topic, but microplastics are this thing where there's no other solution than to stop, right? Like with oil, we can find some other solution. We've got solar, et cetera, but microplastics, it's pervasive. It's impacting every aspect of life now. And
Right, we just have to stop plastic usage to begin with and then figure out how to break down existing plastic.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we're watching another show earlier today, and they're talking about it's a wine bottle that's made out of paper, and it's bragging about how it has less this, less that, except that it has an entire plastic bag inside it, which is going to off gas, and it's going to impart nano and microplastics, because flexible plastics do this all the time. Now you have to sit there and go, oh, okay, well, you have to prove it, right? So hunting for microplastics, nanoplastics in 750 mil of a liquid is like trying to hunt down a needle in a haystack, but the needle is a 1 micron piece of plastic that could be the cause of health issues. This is going to be wild. So in future research, we plan to work with plastics that contain additives such as plasticizers and colorants, as well as with smaller plastic particles. There is dark field microscopy that could facilitate finding these needles in haystacks, except that the haystack now is the size of the planet. So good luck, everybody. Do you want to go on to the next article?
I think we need to.
This next article is over in Non Sequitur News. Man discovers something very unusual about $20 bills withdrawn from an ATM. Jay Heron went to an ATM for $60, but thanks to his eye for detail, he realized the notes that he retrieved could be worth far more.
Oh, I thought it was going to be the wrong denomination or something.
So Alice Collins, man spots something very unusual about the $20 bill he withdraws from an ATM. I'm trying to see.
I don't see anything obvious, but
shows us what we know about $20 bills, right? So, it's the 8s. That's all it is. One of the notes had a serial number of PL588888H, while another had PL588888H. 5. So, some people count the 8s as being extremely lucky. And it says, indeed, the latter serial number is known as a super radar note, meaning the serial number is exactly the same forward and backward, but it's a palindromic serial number, are highly sought after by collectors. Aaron said, I only need $60, but when they noticed the serials were consecutive, I knew the next withdrawal would be the 7 in a row and the super radar. I don't know if they would have used that term until somebody told them, oh, it's a super radar, unless you're already in the know about money.
Right, maybe they were.
But they are, apparently. They say, I always pay attention to what serial numbers are on the banknotes I receive. It's a habit they picked up after seeing a fancy serial that a friend of theirs found in the past. So they were really happy about this. They posted a picture on Reddit, and of course, a lot of stuff from Newsweek comes out of Reddit. After seeing his discovery generate so much attention online, Heron hopes to be able to encourage others to double check the serial numbers. One comment said that 58885 is probably worth a few to a collector. To the right buyer, they're worth somewhere between $150 to $500, depending on the quality of the note.
Interesting.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I would have kept on pulling 20s out just to see if I kept on getting stuff that
right.
was...
Did I get the same general series?
Yeah. Kind of fascinating, huh?
It is, and I would guess most people don't even notice those.
Pretty cool. Yeah, we didn't notice it because what's in a serial number? We don't really care about the serial number, but I guess there are collectors that do. So pretty cool. All right, let's keep going. Moving on. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News. Did I say who the...
I don't know that you did. Oh,
Alice
yeah, you
Collins.
did.
Yeah. Alice Collins over at Newsweek. Okay, so this next article is over in Non Sequitur News. Monsters walk among us, and they're watching Netflix at 1.5 times the speed. And I agree.
Right. I mean, it's hard to keep up some of them at normal speed.
Netflix and no chill is what I titled this one. Netflix's mobile app allows you to watch at 1.25 times and 1.5 times speeds. People tell the author that they use this for reality shows like Love is Blind, while others watch at the gym. So, hey, I did an hour run, but it was actually a 30-minute run.
Right, exactly. Or my workout is only 30 minutes, but I need to watch the whole show, so I better speed up the show.
That's hilarious. So their modern appetite for content might mean that they've stretched their brains to watch faster and faster. Information overload kind of requires you to either do something like this or filter out fluff, which is what I've done when creating ohmTown. Consider the delicate, nuanced performances of a network series like The Diplomat. Now imagine that sped up by 50%. Chipmunk style. This might not appeal to you. What is that? How is that pronounced?
I don't know how to pronounce it, but it seems like a cinephile or something.
A cineast? Cineast? Who savors the art of the flickering screen. But for some people, this is a dream. They're watching Netflix at 1.5 times. What are these animals? Katie Natopoulos put this article together for BusinessInsider.com. And yeah, I guess some people watch this I know people that listen to podcasts sped up, audiobooks sped up, but movies?
That seems really tough. I mean, unless it's like a really kind of fast paced and not a lot of concentration, maybe.
What is the retention of that? Quite a few truly impatient
Probably
people.
Pretty low.
Yeah. So you got a quiz, right? Yeah, probably not. But then again, I don't watch movies to retain every subtle nuance. And most of the time you have to watch it again to catch something that somebody goes, hey, did you miss that part? Oh, yeah.
But I think it depends on the genre.
True. Young people consume content on their phones in strange and weird ways. It says, rest in peace, Quibi. You were ahead of your time. They found themselves sucked into the brain rot videos on TikTok where a dramatic clip from a show plays in a split screen of someone playing with slime or playing a video game. Their modern insatiable appetite for video content might mean that they've adapted and stretched our brains to watch faster and faster. That's an optimistic way of looking at it. And the other way is that our attention spans have dwindled down to the size of a grape.
I think that's more spot on.
Yep. So there you go, folks. If you're one of the weirdos out there, come and hang out in twitch.tv/ohmtown. I'm saying it slowly so that when you sped up, you're hearing it at normal speed and it actually clicks. Or you can go to youtube.com/ohmtown. And don't forget, you can download the podcasts. Just do a search for ohmTown. You'll find us.
And you can speed them up if you want.
So we're going to move on. Anyway, and you're not sped up. It's just me talking faster this time. So this next article is over at Technology Today. A virulent new quote-unquote super strain of bacteria is rapidly spreading in Asia. Yay!
Just no.
Is it by that, what was the name of it again?
It's not clearly tied to Wuhan.
Wuhan Solo. The newly identified...
Oh, maybe that's the new Star Wars trilogy.
Let's not. No. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine that? The new Star Wars trilogy is about a virus that goes around eliminating the rebels.
No, I don't think anybody's ready for that.
Gain of function Millennium Falcon. So the newly identified ST164 strain of antibiotic-resistant crab bacteria, please change that name.
I mean, that's giving us visions of the bacteria like walking like a crab, which is not good.
Or people getting crabs. Spreading in Asia, posing a global health risk due to, because head crabs are the things that grab onto your face from Alien, implant a
None of this is good.
xenomorph, chest burster style. Rigorous infection control and genomic monitoring are critical to containing its spread. A new study reveals that a highly virulent strain of antibiotic resistant bacteria, which causes severe illness. Ah, crap. So, University of Birmingham over at scitechdaily.com. Rigorous infection control and genomic monitoring are critical to containing its spread. How about... Okay, well, I'm really curious. Over a 3-month period in 2021, the experts conducted extensive genomic surveillance within the ICU at Hangzhou, revealing that 80.9% of the what? The what? Or it must be the bacteria or crab. Oh, and what is it called? So Chinese Intensive Care Unit ICU is kind of funny that they break that out. But crab is carbapenem resistant Acinetobacter baumannii, or crab.
I mean, they were right to give it an acronym. But crab is not good.
Acinetobacter. So it's just a bacteria. Anything with bacter on it is a bacteria. Anyway, the A. baumannii bacteria found in patients were crab, with ST164 accounting for 40.2% of the sample. So it was published in Nature Communications. Researchers from the University of Birmingham and Zhejiang University revealed that other hospital wards and transferred patients could be sources of new crab strains entering the ICU. Yeah. Latest research shows one strain, GC2, among crab isolates fell from 99.5 in 2019 to 50.8 in 2021. The remaining population mainly consisted of ST164 isolates that have been evolving since mid-2020 and have twice the levels of measurable resistance to carbapenems that the GC2 strains have. So,
this is just too soon. I know this is bacteria, but I don't think the world is ready for this.
It's just as dangerous if it compromises lungs. And it's it's antibiotic resistant. So your normal course of action would be, well, not anymore. Antibiotic resistant infections are a major threat.
Panic and run.
Yeah, wear your mask, but nobody's going to wear their mask because, hey, it just miraculously goes away, right? Yeah, after hundreds of thousands of people dropped it. So they published this information, and now we monitor. So it's been growing and mutating since at least 2019. In 2021 is the most known prolific ST164 clone. Let's keep moving, though. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News. Fans react after NFL referee calls penalty in perfect German. Audiences were astounded today to hear an NFL ref speaking German on the field. 1 second. I'm so sorry.
I'm sure that was surprising.
Yeah, Nathan Kamal over at Newsweek.com put this article together. NFL fans and commentators alike were flummoxed today to hear a ref call out a penalty in perfect German. I'm not going to bother playing it. Fehlstart Angriff 5 yards. I'm not sure why yards is actually broken out like that. But anyway, Strafe. It's a 5-yard penalty. False start offense, 5-yard penalty. Interestingly, Ocholi then switched back to English, continuing. It's by the center. It's third down. It's unclear why the ref called the penalty in half English, half German, but it had a pretty immediate effect on commentators. As one can hear the official NFL clip above, Sports Center or sportscaster Rich Eisen is audibly surprised and lets out an "oh."
That's interesting.
While another says, "Looks like look at Sean Hochuli hooked on phonics." That's pretty
Well,
funny.
apparently his father called out something in Spanish previously.
Oh, so it's a thing. It draws attention to the refs. So that's some damn good marketing, I'd say. While fans, broadcasters, and social media users alike seem pretty astounded that the NFL official would speak German on the field, it has to be reiterated that the actual game is being played in the third largest city in Germany. So it's actually quite a bit of sense
Okay, I was wondering if this is one of these where I didn't realize that they have some games in Europe.
American viewers might actually be underestimating how popular the NFL is becoming in Europe right now and in Germany specifically. So context matters, folks. Interesting. They buried the lead. I mean, if that would have been at the very top, we wouldn't have read this far into it. Anyway, let's keep moving then. The next article is over in Tabletop Nights. So RP Gamer Roundup, November 3rd to November 10th. This is the end of the week, and this article, this selection, is only available within the last 24 hours. That's where this news comes from. Our weekly shows can sometimes include this kind of stuff, but we actually kind of rarely put RP Roundup in a daily show. So it says, welcome to the latest edition of RP Gamer's Roundup column. So let's just jump straight on over to rpgamer.com. Alex Fuller put the article together, and they go through this list of all of the games that they've discovered between November 3rd and November 10th. Dragon Age, the Veilguard, they have a review, and that's what they are linking to. So they have editorial content about Dragon Age, the Veilguard. It's a very, very popular game right now. A lot of people think that it's kind of a flat game, but a lot of fun still, where the characters are kind of meh and the story is kind of straightforward and linear and flat. And people like wanted it to be like Baldur's Gate 3, but apparently not so much.
There.
Yep. They talk about Metal Slug Tactics, The Legend of Heroes, Trails through Daybreak 2. They got a bunch of retro-styled RPG Negative Reverie news. Beastie Ball served into early access this month. New Arc line coming to early access this month. I have never heard of River City Girls 2. I didn't know that there was a 2, let alone a 1. Or didn't know that there was a 1, let alone a 2. Welcomes the Double Dragons next week. Carden CL is a free update coming in 5 months, I guess. RPG Maker with PS4 and PS5 Western release announced, and a bunch more. So they got a whole bunch of news in this, and they link to podcasts and other things that they find really fascinating. So if you're interested in that kind of composite stuff, definitely follow the links in the show notes or in the VOD. They'll be in that VOD for the next 60 days. So let's keep moving. Sound good?
Sounds good.
So this next article is over in Late Night Geeks. Encore is an AI-powered search engine for your thrifting needs. Former Apple engineer Alex Ruber and former Twitter and Asana engineer Parth Chopra first met on Y Combinator's founder Match platform. Then met in person at a thrift store for shopping. They later went on a thrift store shopping trip, where they talked about solving problems with finding the right product in the online space. So, of course, AI. AI has to mine data for it to be effective. So,
right, and it only makes sense. I mean, thrifting is very localized.
So I'm really curious.
If you can get it in online, that would probably be good for the buyers and the sellers.
So their AI, their engine is going to have to tap into all of these other sites. So it says the entire secondhand shopping market is really fragmented. There are hundreds of sources out there, such as Depop, Mercari, ThreadUp, eBay, Craigslist, and more. It's hard for consumers to sift through all of them and try to get the product you're looking for. So they wanted to remove that friction for users, which is great. It's news similar, news adjacent. Are they scraping the sites? Because we don't scrape sites
Yeah,
to.
I don't know. That's what I kind of wonder about how this is happening. Are they teaming up with these like Craigslist and everything, or are they just pulling the information?
Yeah, I don't know how they're actually doing it, because if it's balkanized like that, eBay, I don't think allows you to tap into an API. I don't think. I'll have to look. And Craigslist doesn't, they've got enough momentum where if they do have an API or something like that, they can charge for it, I suppose. I don't know. I
Right.
haven't
Yeah,
looked in
I'm
that
not
side of
sure.
things. Plus, what's going to happen when you're big enough and they decide to yank your API access like Reddit did to countless other
Oh, that's
developers?
true. That wasn't disruptive at all.
Not at all. But it was great for our investors. The search engines also show partial prompts such as outfit inspo for and shop from the show. When you tap on them, you can complete the prompt through auto-populated suggestions or your own words. So on Encore, the service, you can type your query and get matches from multiple resources, including Poshmark, The Real Real, Grailed, Etsy, eBay. Because Encore uses a large language model tech, you can type a query like "show me address at Emily Warren, Emily in Paris, season 3, episode 4." Brilliant. Where are they getting their data?
Yeah, I can't decide if it's like a search engine or what it is and whether they're teaming up with these other sites.
Right. It's interesting. So I don't know. I would have to do a search to see if Real Real has an API that you can tap into. Many sites do, but this is the kind of thing, though, that ends up pissing off people, because now, whereas I'm of the mind, and I honestly am, services like this allow someone who has information overload to do a search and go to the source. That's kind of what ohmTown does, right? We are actually provided this information through their public means, and then we direct people to these sites. And there's no ads on the site, and we have a little snippet. We limit our impact, and we kind of spur curiosity through this public discussion, right? That's the value add. So if you find us valuable, then like and subscribe to us on YouTube and or Twitch, and download the podcast and leave a review. I would love to start seeing more reviews over on the Apple podcasts in particular. But this is a value add, and I think that it's very important if it's done right. When it's done wrong, there's blowback, and it can shut off access to other people who are doing it, quote unquote, the right way. So I'm really interested in this. So I'll probably take a look at Encore, even though I'm not much of a shopper to begin with. I mean, look at my clothing, for crying out loud. Anyway, pretty neat, because it aggregates all of these other locations into one. It does lower the friction, but some people could take it the wrong way and lash out.
Yeah, I don't know how the sites will like if it drives more traffic to those sites, they might actually like it. Um, and it'll be interesting. I mean, there's definitely a win if you get more used products into people's hands, so they're not buying new and contributing to problems like microplastics, etc.
Yeah, this is interesting. I'm kind of curious about the engine here. How are they making money? Because it's going to be expensive to operate this thing as it ramps up more and more people. If there's ads on it, somebody else's ads next to a product sometimes causes a representation issue. So anyway,
Well,
let's
I'm
keep on
also
moving. Oh,
interested
sorry.
too because there's a lot of sites that are in this space, but there's a lot of in real life sites too that are not necessarily online, but maybe that'll change over time.
Yeah. And I guess the ones that are not online are missing a lot of potential customers. I hope that they're all tech savvy because that space really does need thrift stores are hyper local because that's where they're getting their content from. Usually, if they don't go online, they have the potential to miss out on a lot. They're saying that this market's going to reach $350 billion globally by 2028, but global is such a huge thing. Got to
Well,
think
and
local.
who can really afford to ship things globally?
Yeah.
But I mean, that doesn't mean there isn't a demand around the world. I just mean some of it's got to be a little more localized in terms of the transaction.
So the startup currently relies on affiliate shares for revenue generation. So they must be tapped into like eBay API or Etsy API or something like that that allows them to do this. Because if they're redirecting traffic through some affiliate proxy, whatever, that actually increases friction because it's slower to get to the solution. But they're going to say the company is also experimenting with $3 a month subscription, providing unlimited searches with advanced models. But again, I suspect that this is something that maybe the shop owners don't really care as long as they're getting anybody showing up.
Well, it's interesting because in concept, it's going to drive their sales up. On the other hand, it could drive sales to competitors. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how they react to this.
Yeah, because if I do a search for camera purse, I may pull up a bunch of these, but the search engine itself pulls up that shop. And if they go somewhere else because they found one for $3 less, you just cost me $12.
Right.
All right. Let's keep moving. Our last article for today is over in the mobile channel. Hackers keep stealing tickets from people's Ticketmaster accounts. We've actually talked about this a couple of times now, but apparently it's still going on. Ticketmaster controls a majority of major concert venues ticketing, and they provide this as kind of a turnkey solution. And they price out everybody else who might want to buy tickets. You have to go through Ticketmaster. Ticketmaster has a higher price set than what the box
Well,
office
and the
would have been.
venues too, they kind of like make it very attractive for venues to sign up with Ticketmaster.
Yeah, because they give them a shit ton of money right out of the gate, right? And so we know from watching um, documentary evidence of the practice that if you decide that you're not interested in using Ticketmaster, they'll freeze your ass out as being a venue to promoters because Ticketmaster has a promotion wing that goes out to the artists and says, hey, we've got venues, this venue, this venue, this venue. And if you decide that you're not interested in Ticketmaster, those promoters will block you. They will ban you from, they won't even drop your name. I mean, it's basically like the kid under the stairs kind of a thing, right? So Ticketmaster controls the majority of major concert venue ticketing. Any government litigation against Ticketmaster is probably DOA now. I'm calling it now. Yeah. So Business Insider reported yesterday about, oh, by the way, this article is by Thomas Maxwell over at gizmodo.com, but they found this via Business Insider, reported yesterday about a string of customers checking their emails only to discover that someone had broken into their Ticketmaster accounts and transferred their tickets away. This has been something that seems to have been growing ever since their supposed innocuous breach that didn't have any impact on anything.
Yeah, it does seem like it was connected pretty closely in time. I am surprised that it's continuing though.
If they haven't done anything actively, because they would have to notify everybody in that database. Hey, all of your shit's compromised, but maybe it isn't totally. Maybe this is just happenstance. Correlation is not causation, right? So Mackenzie was eventually able to get their tickets returned to her by Ticketmaster's customer support. others haven't been so lucky. Business Insider identified another individual who had their tickets stolen, returned to them by Ticketmaster only to visit their concert and encounter two individuals who discovered their tickets had been swiped only once they got to the gate. Reddit similarly is home to many complaints from users saying similar things had happened to them. Yeah.
And we've heard other accounts, right, of people buying tickets and then the tickets don't seem to exist.
And I know from direct experience that I purchased tickets and they vaporized the night of.
Which makes you think it might be something like this.
Yep. And I had, what was really weird about it is that I had crashed for the night because I knew that I was going to be on a long drive, and I woke up and I was like, something doesn't feel right. And at 11 o'clock at night, I called the person and to no avail, sent an email, called the number for where I purchased the tickets, eventually got this person on the horn via direct messaging only, no voice-to-voice communication. And they somehow found me 2 tickets on the other side in the exact same spot.
They weren't the original tickets, though.
Right. Yeah. The same tier, same location, same venue, same everything, except over there, 300 feet. So it was amazing that I got it, but I was literally 8 hours away from having to drive away to the venue. So yeah, it was quite fascinating. So it's not just the Justice Department mad at Live Nation and Ticketmaster. Concert goers have been frustrated with companies for years over their poor handling of ticket sales, but it's kind of the Reddit style of thing, you know, you'll be back, kiss her ass.
Well, consumers have absolutely no choice in this. If they want to see a certain artist or if they want to be at a certain venue, they have to use Ticketmaster and Live Nation.
Yep.
So it's not just don't go. Well, that might be their only tour ever, or that's the only time they play that song that you want to hear.
Yeah, but so you've got to pay you have to pay the squeeze. It's just so, and you never know because the security apparently is a sieve. So one day your tickets are there, the next day you're sitting there fighting to figure out where your freaking tickets are. So Live Nation was permitted to acquire Ticketmaster back in 2010 after signing a consent decree saying, amongst other things, that it would not retaliate against venues that chose other ticketing providers, meaning that they can still promote through Live Nation. But again, Live Nation controls a vast swath of major venues. Just this year, the people have been talking about the fact that if you don't use Live Nation, they'll punch you. And you won't even, it isn't that hey, I'm going to use a different ticketing solution. They won't send artists to your venue.
Yeah, it's a much bigger thing than just the consumer part of it.
Right. And it's bigger than the venue itself. They're not going to the venue and saying, okay, well, we're not going to allow you to use Ticketmaster. They're saying via Live Nation, we won't promote an artist to your venue. Right?
Yeah, it's I don't know, it's very systemic.
Yeah, it's because they have a monopoly and they control the market and they use it through acquisitions and mergers and then now financial might. They buy the venue out and say, here is, $12 million worth of tickets. And we're going to make, 18 million on the other side. So they get their money fast. They can invest it. And, each month that this money is sitting there, they make more money because they invest it. Anyway, I find it really compelling that maybe there is a problem here. Stuff like this and the historical record of this. But companies will abuse because the motto is profits no matter what.
Right. There's not a lot of incentive otherwise.
Yeah. Because they only have one mandate, and that's the investor being pissed off. So we're going to punch our ticket, and that's going to bring us back to the front page of ohmtown.com. And I'm going to say, see you later. I'm going to go sit down in my concert seat.
That may or may not be there.
That may or may not be there. But it'll be warmer if there is a person there, because I'll just sit directly on their lap. And when they struggle, I'll just go, you're sitting in my seat. Here's my ticket. Anyway. Thanks for co-hosting Sentient AI from the future.
Thanks for having me, Mayor Watt, and thanks for joining us, hometown citizens. We'll have another episode of this tomorrow, but stay tuned. We have some weekly shows ahead.
What's the first weekly show that we're going to do?
Warcrafters.
Then Technology Today, and then Four Wheel Tech. Now, they're all niche news segments, and we kind of get snarky through it all anyway. Well, I do. Sentient AI tolerates Mayor Watt. At least until you get that Terminator body. All right. See you in a little bit. Bye-bye. Punch your ticket.